Hi guys, and welcome to another real transport video. This is just going to be a fairly quick tutorial on how to solve the problem that Add-on London has introduced with regard to the London Citybus 400 regional variant when you try and load UK maps other than Add-on London. You get a fatal error if the London Citybus 400 regional variant is in the AI lists of those maps. Now, unfortunately, of course, most UK maps do have the London Citybus 400 regional variant as an AI bus. It's been with us for 4 years. It's a very, very good AI bus, and it is generally heavily used. So we have a problem on our hands. Okie dokie. Worth saying straight away that this problem does not affect the European maps in any way, which is good. And I should also immediately say I'd like to thank Ed and Callum for contributing to the solution of this problem. So I'm just bringing together ideas from several people really as to how to solve this problem. There are 3 solutions that I'm aware of. I'll run through them quickly, apart from the third one, which is the one that I prefer, where I'll go into more detail. The first solution, which is kind of the obvious one, is to say, well, if the C400R is causing the problem, why not change the AI lists in all of your UK maps and change the bus to, say, an ALX400 or something else? Yep, that will work. That's certainly a permanent solution. Once you've done it, it's done. It is, however, a lot of work to change all your AI lists, and also prone to some error if you make a typo. And also you do lose the map specific repaints, say buses of the West Country, Yorkshire version 2, etc, etc, where the C400R has tended to have quite a lot of repaints specific to specific maps, if you see what I mean. And that of course would get lost. So I don't particularly like that solution. Solution 2 is an interesting one. In solution 2 you create a new vehicles folder, say C400R or whatever you want to call it, and in there you put the C400 regional files, and we'll actually come on to see how we do that in a moment, the original files, and then you edit again all your AI lists for the UK maps to point at that folder rather than the London City Bus 400 folder, the original folder. That's a permanent solution. It again is a lot of work because you're editing all of your AI files, but it's got the advantage that you will retain all the map repaints for specific UK maps. It's got a serious disadvantage though, in that I believe you won't be able to drive that bus in Bus Company Simulator. You won't be able to drive the C400 Regional in Bus Company Simulator because you've changed the path to the vehicle, and I think that will mean Bus Company Simulator can't see it, or will think it's a different vehicle. Okay, the third solution, which is the one that I prefer, is to create basically 2 new folders, one where you hold the regional bus and one where you hold the London bus, and you swap between the 2 depending upon whether you're driving in Add-on London or whether you're driving in a UK map that is not Add-on London. So let's have a look to see how we would do that. So if we come over here and look inside my OMSI directory under vehicles, then we can see the normal London Citybus 400 folder that everyone has got, and 2 additional folders that I've created, a dual door XYZ variant and a regional XYZ variant. So the first step is to create 2 additional empty folders named something like this. The reason for the names are so that you can distinguish obviously between the London variant and the regional variant, and the reason for the XYZ, I add some random characters so that this is future proof, so any update to Add-on London that occurs in the future will not affect these folders because they won't have used these names. Okie dokie. So that's step one. Step two is we need to rebuild the contents of these folders. So I'm assuming that you have downloaded Add-on London. Okay, so let's start from the point where you have downloaded Add-on London, and what you do then is, and I won't do it here if you don't mind, there's a reason for that. What you do is you want to take the contents of that folder and move them into the dual door folder. So I will do it. The contents of this aren't quite what you would expect, but let me just obviously explain the method. We select all the vehicles, all the contents, we right click and do a copy. I'm not actually going to do it. And then we move into the dual door folder. Now I've already done it, but essentially you can do a home and a paste. Okay, that's pretty straightforward stuff. So we've got the contents of the dual door sorted. Now we've got an empty folder called regional. Where do we get that data from? Now if you do regular backups, you may already have the London Citybus 400 prior to the AOL download, in which case you can retrieve those files from there. That's what I did. I just fortuitously had done a backup of my OMSI directory 4 or 5 days prior to me getting the AOL download. So I was fortunate. The other way you can do it is, of course, just get the download from Fellow Films, get the zip file, and put the contents in that way. You just have to be a bit careful how you do that. Don't do it the normal way, because of course in the zip file you've got the folder London Citybus 400. You don't want it to go there, you want it to go here into this regional area. So what you have to do is drill down another level and take all of these folders and files and load them into the regional XYZ one by one, and that way you won't interfere with the London Citybus 400 folder. That would really confuse things. So let's assume we've done that. So we've got these two fully loaded. How does that help us? Because nothing points at these two folders. So what we do then is, depending upon whether we want to drive in Add-on London or whether we want to drive in a non-Add-on London UK map, by one means or another, we essentially delete that folder, and we will make a copy of the appropriate folder here and rename it London Citybus 400. And then you should be all set either for driving in London or for driving in AOL non-UK. Now if you get confused as to where you've got to with this, all you need to do is have a quick look in here. So if we look in the London one, dual door, and we look at the bus files, you will see a file C400.bus. That is unique to Add-on London. That is the London variant. You will not find that bus in the regional one. So let's just make sure that that's true. So if we go into the regional folder, and we've got all the bus files together. So we've got Badger's Voice, we've got the regional, which is actually the Eco Life. Actually, if you look inside, it says Eco Life. We've got the Dewa, and we've got the Express. We don't have the dual door variant in that folder, which is what we would expect. I think that's basically it. Now obviously if the problem is fixed in the future, all that it means for this solution is that there's nothing else to do, because the problem will get fixed in here. I suspect where the problem is in the scripts. I might be wrong about that, but there's obviously a shared script between the regional and the dual door, and it can't be shared. But once that's fixed, then all it means is that you don't have to use these two folders again. And you haven't had to make any changes to your AI list either. The downside is operational, in that when you swap between AOL and non-AOL, you have to remember to swap in and out the right folder here. I hope that's clear. It doesn't sound very clear as I say it, but this is all a bit of a mess, but this is a way to keep you going over Christmas and until we get the fix anyway, so that you can enjoy all of your UK maps, both London and non-London.